Welcome back to a new video. This one's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be an educational video. And today we're going to be talking about how to get shredded for dummies. It's going to be a high-level overview. It's still summertime, so we want to go from Chud to Chad. All right, we still got time to lock in. We want to be looking like our favorite influencers here. Jeff Seed, David Lade, this guy too. But I really like the educational content, so that's kind of something I want to get more into. If you guys like it, let me know down in the comments. Give me a like, sub, and let's get right into the video. Alright, so there's a little bit of credentials. As you can see here on the left, I used to be a chud. I was like 215 pounds here. I was in college, discovered alcohol. I was drinking every single weekend, and you can see my physique reflected that. And then this is me now, about 180 pounds, a true Chad. Now, not really, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Always working on it. But you can see I'm significantly leaner here. So I know some things about that loss. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So I'm not going to make you watch the whole video. I'm just going to lay everything out right here. The big secret. All right? So here's the secret. Ooh, almost had you. Hold on. Here's the secret. Ooh, gotcha again. Nah, I'm just kidding. All right, so the big secret here is fat loss happens in a calorie deficit. That's it. I mean, at the end of the day, that's it. It doesn't necessarily matter what you eat, the quality of your workouts, how much sleep you're getting, the steps you're getting. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose fat. It's that simple. Now, there are things that we can do to help our cut go better or worse, and that's kind of the things that we're going to talk about in today's video on how to optimize that. But I just want you guys to know, at the end of the day, it's just a calorie deficit. That's it. There's no secret. All right, so let's talk about maintenance calories. What are maintenance calories? So basically, at your current body weight, doing your daily activities, so whatever you do in a daily day, walking, going to the gym, not doing anything, and whatever weight you are, the calories eaten to maintain that weight is your maintenance calories. So before we start a cut, we want to find our maintenance calories. So how do we do that? We could start with something like a calorie calculator if you don't really know. It's going to give you like a general baseline. They're not always like super accurate because there's a lot of other factors involved, like metabolic rate and daily activity expenditure, that this can't get exact, but it helps get you a general gist. The second method, which is what I would prefer, is basically just track your weight for 2 weeks. So here's kind of an example. So every single day in the morning, after you use the bathroom, track your weight, and then track how many calories you eat over that for that day, and then over the course of 2 weeks, your average weight and then your average calorie. Okay, that is going to get you your maintenance calories for that time period. So from there to cut, we kind of just adjust based off of those. So next thing we want to talk about is how much do we actually want to cut? So how big of a deficit do we want to get? Generally speaking, slower cuts are going to be better. Why? Because you're going to be less hungry. You're going to have better performance in the gym, and you're going to have a higher likelihood to stick to it. So I would tend to go with something like 200 to 500 calorie deficit. I mean, you can do these super aggressive cuts. That's fine. I mean, you can do a 1,000 calorie deficit. Like, sure, if you want to, that's fine. However, there is going to be some downsides to that. So you're going to have much more fatigue than you would on a slower cut. Your training is going to be worse. You're not going to be able to recover as much. Potentially, it could lead to muscle loss as well if you're going to go too much into a calorie deficit. Now, I would say the one nuance to that is kind of if you're a higher body fat. So, like if you're 30% body fat, you can kind of afford to take a more aggressive cut than someone that's like 18% body fat and they kind of just want to trim a little bit of fat off. All right, so let's talk about protein. Protein, in my opinion, is super overhyped, especially right now. I mean, there's protein everything. The industry is really pushing protein. However, studies have come out that said you really only need zero point 0.7 to 1 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I linked that study there. If you guys are interested in it, I can send it to you guys. So I would say general rule of thumb, 1 gram per pound of your desired body weight goal. So example, if you're 200 pounds, you want to be 180, eat 180 grams of protein. Like I said, you can eat a little bit more. I actually tend to eat you can eat a little bit less. I actually tend to eat a little bit less, and then I'll fill the rest of that with carbs, which I'll talk about later. So what protein do we want to be getting? We want to be getting high quality protein sources. So these are our whole foods, things like chicken, things like beef, fish, cod, salmon, things like that. They're super beneficial for you, and they're higher quality protein sources. We don't really want to be eating these like super ultra processed like protein bars, protein cookies, protein chips. There's like protein ramen now. There's protein in everything. I would tend to stick far away from that and stick to your high quality whole food protein sources. Now, what about whey protein powder? That is fine because it is the highest quality protein. So if you're busy, like you're in a pinch, and you can't fit your protein in your whole foods, then yeah, sure, utilize whey protein powder, but I would try to get the significant portion of your protein from these higher quality whole foods. Just for your guys' knowledge, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. All right, so next thing is fats. We don't want to ignore fats. People, when they tend to take cuts, they tend to just ignore the fats and don't really eat them. However, that's not good for you because fats are super satiating. So they're going to keep you fuller for longer periods of the time, and also they have some hormonal balance benefits to them. So you want to make sure you are still eating your fats. Do not ignore your fats. Typically, fat should take about 20 to 30% of your daily calorie goals. So, for example, if your daily calorie goal is 2,500 calories, then fat should be 500 to 750 calories. Here are some healthy fat sources. So, like on a cut, I would eat things like avocado, dark chocolate's good, cheese is good, things like that. Again, you just want to be super careful with them because they are higher in calories, and it's very easy to overdo on things like olive oil and peanut butter, things like that. So you just want to make sure that you're tracking it properly. And then for some further information, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. Carbs. In my opinion, carbohydrates are the most important macronutrient, especially on a cut. Why? Because carbohydrates give you energy. This is what you need to perform in the gym. This is what you need to perform outside of the gym. Also, we'll get into it, but more complex carbs keep you fuller for longer. So overall, carbs are extremely beneficial. They are not evil like you have been told in the past. Make sure you're eating your carbs. So carbs are broken down into 2 categories. So there's simple carbs and there's complex carbs. Simple carbs are super easy to digest, and they give you an insulin spike, which is good for quick energy. So this is going to be important pre-workout. So right before the gym, you're going to want to have simple carbohydrates. while complex carbs are slower digesting. They're usually higher in fiber, and they give you more satiety. So both are important. However, both have different uses. Like I previously said, the simple carbs are going to be important for like pre-workout. So I would eat things like rice, bananas, honey, rice cakes, things like that. Pre-workout, usually 30 minutes to an hour before, and then post-workout as well, because your glycogen storage has been depleted because you just expelled all that energy because you're training hard in the gym. Your glycogen storage is low, which means you need to fill it with carbohydrates. So same thing post-workout, you're going to want to be eating these simple carbohydrates. And then the rest of the day, you can eat these more complex carbs because they're going to keep you full throughout the day. So things like potatoes, oatmeal, multigrain bread, things of that nature. And then for your information, 1 gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. So now let's talk about diet as a whole. You want to be prioritizing whole foods. Don't forget about the micronutrients. Macronutrients are going to make you look good. Micronutrients are going to make you feel good. People will wonder why they don't feel well all the time. And then when you ask about their diet, they're only eating protein bars, protein cookies, protein ramen, protein Doritos. Like, brother, we are eating these ultra processed foods. These foods are not going to make you feel good. I promise you, if you eat whole foods, you are going to feel so much better. So just prioritize the whole foods. It's okay to have this stuff every once in a while as kind of sort of a supplement. I like protein bars. I'll eat protein bars every once in a while. But for the most part, you want to be eating whole foods. So especially on a cut, we want to be focusing on volume. This way, it's gonna fill our stomach. It's gonna make us feel full. So things like fruits, vegetables, these are gonna make you feel fuller because they're super low calorie. You can eat a bunch of them. I love blueberries, broccoli, cucumbers, things like that, pickles, things like that. You just want to fill your diet with them because they are going to keep you full throughout the day. And then what we have here is the satiety index. So basically they did a study where they took white bread. So white bread was the control group. And so that had a score of 100. Anything above the white bread is going to keep you fuller for longer. So you can see at the top, what is it? Potatoes. I love potatoes. I eat potatoes at almost every single meal because you can eat so much potatoes and they're going to keep you full for so long. And they're also super beneficial for you. They're filled with micronutrients. Sweet potatoes have a lot of fiber in them, so that's important. You want to make sure you're filling your fiber. Specifically in this, it's boiled potatoes, but I mean you could still bake potatoes. They're not going to keep you as full, but they're still going to keep you super full. So when making your meal plans, you just want to keep in mind the foods that have like a high satiety rate. All right, so now that we talked about the diet, let's talk about our meal timing. So we kind of want our carbohydrates structured around our training times. Usually I eat 70% of my carbohydrates for the day, pre and post workout. This is because this is when you're going to want energy before the gym, and then after the gym, your glycogen storage is going to be low, so you need to replenish that. So you're going to need carbohydrates there as well. If you're going to train earlier in the morning, like I do, eat some fast digesting carbs 1 hour to 30 minutes right before a workout. if you're going to train later on in the afternoon, you can eat carbs before, but I would kind of like eat them 2 to 4 hours before a workout. You want to make sure your food is fully digested before your workout, or else you're not going to feel good. You're not going to perform as well. On top of that, post-workout, we want to be eating our protein. Protein before a workout is really unnecessary. Honestly, it could almost hurt you in a sense, because it's going to slow down your digestion. So you kind of want to only eat it post-workout. There's also going to be no muscle protein synthesis there, so there's no reason really to eat your protein before your workout. Now, some nuance to that is, again, if you train at night or later on in the day, I'm not saying you should not eat any protein at all throughout the day, but just as a pre-workout, you don't really need any protein. But after your workout, that's when your muscle protein synthesis occurs. So you want to make sure you're getting in a significant portion of your protein post-workout. And then fats, throw them in throughout the day. They're going to keep you full. Like I said earlier, you don't need them as a pre-workout because it's going to slow down your digestion. But after your workout, yeah, that would be beneficial. And if you're going to work out later in the day, like in the morning, eat some like eggs or avocados or something like that. That way you can feel full throughout the day. So now that we talked about our diet and our meal timing, let me break down kind of like an example full day of eating. That way it's just easier for you guys to understand. So let's just say you're 200 pounds right now and your 2,300 calories is your cutting calories. And then in this example, let's just say you work out at 10 a.m. So we're gonna have our first meal as a pre-workout an hour to 2 hours before. So that's just gonna be like 4 rice cakes, a banana, and a tablespoon of honey. You can see we have 75 grams of carbs right there, and they're all gonna be simple carbs, so they're gonna be quick digesting. Then we're gonna go through our workout. Meal 2 is gonna be our post-workout. We're gonna eat chicken breast, white rice, and 100 grams of pineapple. So this is where we're getting in our proteins. You can see we have 77 grams of proteins, and then we're also getting in these significant portion of our carbohydrates. And they're also, again, going to be simple carbohydrates. Rice is a simple carb, pineapple is a simple carb. Meal 3, we're gonna eat that later throughout the day. That's gonna be 6 ounces of 93% ground beef, some baked potatoes, and 150 grams of broccoli. So we have a healthy mix of everything in this meal, and then same with the last meal. It's gonna be 6 ounces of salmon, 2 whole eggs, and 150 grams of egg whites. We have a healthy balance of everything. That's gonna put our total caloric intake at 2,300 calories with 200 grams of protein, 63 grams of fats, and 237 grams of carbs. So this is an example full day of eating on a cut, and you guys can just tailor it to your liking. All right, now we're gonna talk about the training regimen. In my opinion, training, the way you train isn't, the split that you do isn't super important. People always ask all the time, oh, what's the best split? What's the best split? To be honest, it's not really gonna make that much of a difference what split you do. I would say as long as you do it 2 times a week frequency, you can do upper lower rest, upper lower 3 times a week, full body every other day, push pull legs, Arnold split, anterior, posterior, left, right. It doesn't really matter as long as you're hitting it twice a week. That I would say is the most important. Now, what is more important than the split that you choose is your intensity. You need to be training hard. This is the only way you're going to retain or even potentially build muscle on a cut. So every single set needs to be taken 0 to 2 RIR. RIR is reps in reserve. So that is how many reps you had left in the tank. So if you did a set to 1 RIR, that means if your life depended on it, gun to your head, you could have done 1 more rep. Typically for newer lifters, I would just do 0 RIR every single set. Really, you'd only do like 1 to 2 for like fatigue reasons and like recovery reasons. But because the majority of people don't know what true intensity is, just take every set to failure. Hit 3 sets per muscle group, 6 to 9 reps per set. Evidence backs this up. This is where you build the most amount of muscle. So just do that. And you want to make sure that you're maintaining your strength through the cut. That's how you know your intensity is high. If you were 200 and now you're 180 and you're still lifting the same weight or more potentially as when you were 200, that's good. That means you're training with intensity. If your strength drops, especially if it drops a significant portion, that is not good. That either means your intensity is lacking or you are taking the cut too aggressively, and then you got to pivot from there. All right, now let's talk about everyone's favorite portion, cardio. Yes, we need to be doing cardio. Unfortunately, it sucks. 10K steps a day minimum. You should be hitting 10K steps. It's not that hard to hit 10,000 steps. Preferably, you're hitting anywhere from 12 to 15,000. My average right now is 13,500, and I can hit that pretty comfortably almost every single day. I work a job, so I can do it. You can do it too. I can talk about tips and tricks on how to lose weight when working a 9 to 5 in a later video if that's something you guys are interested in. But if I can do it, you guys can do it too. Steps important. Zone 2 cardio. You want to be doing your cardio in the zone 2. So that is conversational pace. So you want to be walking with a purpose, but you don't want to be sprinting. You don't want to be running. Don't be like Ashton Hall right here. We don't want to be sprinting. That's when we go into our high intensity. So high intensity interval training or higher intensity, that is going to kill your gains. Why? Because you can't recover from that. So you're not going to be able to recover, and then that's going to lead to muscle loss. You're not going to be able to build muscle. You're just going to lose it in these higher intensity zones. So stick to zone 2 cardio. Easy treadmill, 5 incline, 3 speed, something like that. That's all you need. All right, so now let's talk about tracking. You want to be tracking everything. So obviously you want to track your weight every single day, first thing in the morning, after you use the bathroom, step on the scale, track the weight. You also want to be taking progress photos too, because weight is not always indicative of progress. You may think you're doing good and the scale doesn't change, but that's just because you're losing fat. Muscle weighs more than fat. So you may be losing fat and the scale isn't changing. That's where progress photos come in. That way you can visually see that your body is changing. On top of the weight, you want to be tracking your calories. Obviously, just look up a standard calorie tracking app. Any of them work. You want to be tracking your steps. You want to be tracking your sleep. You want to be tracking your gym progression. If you're taking this cut serious, you should be tracking everything. That way, if something is off, you're going to know what's off and how to pivot from there. All right, now let's talk about sleep maxing. Sleep is extremely important on a cut. It is one of, if not the most important thing that you need to be doing, and most people do not sleep well. The average adult sleeps 5 to 6 hours a night. That is not enough. If you get poor sleep, not enough sleep, you're not going to be recovered. You're going to be fatigued. You're going to lose muscle. you need to be sleeping enough. 8+ hours every single night is what you should be sleeping. On top of that, you also have to take into consideration sleep debt. Sleep debt is how many hours we should be getting minus how many hours we actually get. For example, if we're supposed to be sleeping 8 hours a night, but last night we only slept 6 hours, that means we have 2 hours of sleep debt. So the next night, you have to make up for that, or else you're going to continue to carry over this sleep debt and you're not actually recovering as well as you think you are. So with that out of the way, let's talk about how to sleep max. Step number 1, no screen time 1 hour before bed. Spelled it wrong. I know, no scrolling TikTok, no scrolling Instagram Reels. I love my Reels, but 1 hour before bed, don't scroll on your phone, don't watch a TV show, read a book. Trust me, it's gonna make you feel so drowsy if you just pick up a book, and it's also good for you. Caffeine. If you are taking caffeine 12 hours before bedtime, your sleep is cooked. You might be thinking it's fine. Oh, well, I take pre-workout all the time. I work out at 5, 6 o'clock. I can go to bed at 10 o'clock perfectly fine. No, you cannot. You may think you can, but you're not actually getting that deep restorative sleep. You're stuck in this light sleep phase and you're not going to be able to recover. Caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours. So 10 to 12 hours before bed, you should cut off caffeine. Same thing with the last meal, 3 hours before bed, your last big meal. This is so your body is fully digested your food by the time you go to bed. You don't want to be sleeping when your body is digesting food because you're not going to be able to sleep well. Now, of course, that's a little bit nuanced. If you're starving, you can eat something small and super easy to digest, like yogurt or something like that. But typically your last big meal, I would eat it a couple hours before bed. So magnesium glycinate and melatonin are 2 supplements that you can utilize to help you sleep better. Magnesium glycinate is a de-stressor, so it's going to calm you down. It's going to put you in a nice, calm, relaxing state. And then melatonin gives you that drowsiness effect. You're going to be able to sleep. You're not going to get addicted to it. Just take a little bit. It's fine. I take melatonin every single night. I have no issues falling asleep. You want to make sure your room is cold. This is going to help you fall asleep. So as cold as you can bear it, then I would make it. Obviously, you don't want it to be the Arctic if you're not going to be able to sleep because of that, but you don't want your room to be super hot. Colder environments help you sleep. On top of that, eye mask, earplug, mouth tape combo, goated combination. I do that every single night. It helps me fall asleep. It's different for everyone. Some people don't like the feeling of like an eye mask or like the earplug in their ear, but I would try it out, test it out, see if you sleep better with it. You might. If you don't like the eye mask, I would invest in some like blackout curtains because you want to make your room as dark as possible. This is gonna tell your body, hey, it's time to rest. And we want to be sleeping like Mr. Shaquille O'Neal over here every single night. So do these things and you'll be sleep maxing, trust. All right. One last thing I want to talk about is your mindset. Here are all the tips and tricks, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's up to you to do it. It's you versus you. You have to understand that there are going to be some points where you're going to be hungry. There's going to be points where you're going to be tired and super fatigued. There's going to be points when you want to quit. But really, at the end of the day, how bad do you want it? You see these people online that have crazy physiques. This isn't just because of genetics or they woke up one day with this physique. They wanted it bad enough. So that has to be you. Throw up some motivational quotes to keep you going. Just remember, at the end of the day, you are goated. Okay? You're goated. So just keep this mentality in mind when you're training, when the days are hard, when you have a slip, a setback, things like that. How bad do you want it? All right, so to recap, find your maintenance calories, create a calorie deficit, eat enough protein, keep the fats at a healthy level, fill the rest of your caloric intake with carbohydrates, train extremely hard, get your steps in, zone 2 cardio, prioritize your sleep, track all your progress, stay patient, and then at the end of the day, you're gonna ascend. You're gonna look like every single one of these people. Yes, everybody. These are all your favorite influencers. So, trust me, guys, if you want to do a cut properly, this is all you need. Let me know if you guys like this type of content. I really enjoy the educational side of things. Honestly, this is like super high level. You can go way more in depth on every single one of these, and I can do that. If that's something you guys are interested in, just let me know. If you guys want to see anything else, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.